From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening, according to a press release from the Anchorage Police Department, 59-year-old Gregory Bucknell was arrested in Fairbanks March 5th on charges of sexual abuse of a minor and distribution of child pornography.
An undercover officer received videos depicting the sexual exploitation of children as young as 7. Investigators learned the videos were coming from an address north of Fairbanks off the Steese Highway.
Federal, state, and local officers were involved in the raid on the home. Investigators say computers there had videos that showed Bucknell sexually assaulting a preteen girl.
Bucknell was arrested in Fairbanks and transferred to the jail in Anchorage since some of the crimes are alleged to have occurred there. The investigation is continuing. And
in other news this evening, a Fairbanks man has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for possession of illegal firearms and hiding assets in a bankruptcy. 56-year-old Guy Menino was accused of offering another man a submachine gun and 2 other weapons in exchange for a contract killing. In a plea agreement with the federal government, Menino pleaded guilty to 3 weapons counts and the bankruptcy charge. He still faces charges in another murder-for-hire case in which he is accused of trying to have several federal officers killed.
The 2 state troopers involved in a shooting earlier this week have been identified as Joshua Rollo and Jacob Hayungs, both assigned to the Fairbanks Patrol Unit. The incident occurred last Sunday at a residence near Dale Road after troopers received a report that a woman had pointed a gun at another female. After the victim phoned authorities, she reportedly fled from the residence. Troopers spokesperson Beth Ibsen said the troopers fired when the woman raised a rifle towards them. The woman was shot several times and taken to the hospital for what were described as non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation continues.
The Fairbanks Board of Education continued budget work by holding a public hearing last night. The district faces an $11 million shortfall heading into the next school year. That's the largest budget deficit in district history. The school board is scheduled to approve the $243 million spending plan at a special meeting on March 25th. It will then be a waiting game as the 2 primary funding sources of the district's budget, the state legislature and Fairbanks North Star Borough, work through their respective budgets. The district may need to cut over 73 positions in order to bridge the gap. Many of those who testified at last night's hearing advocated the removal of positions from the cut list, while Larry Ennert offered cost-saving measures.
The options of not increasing the staff travel budget by the $104,000 and maybe reducing it by 30% to get you 1 or 2 FTEs. Not increasing the HR department by 4, keeping that down to 2 or 1 gives you 1 or 2 FTEs. Cutting supplies by another 10% gets you an FTE. There's still 5 ITTs in the budget that could be utilized differently without losing their expertise or giving them still an impact on using technology. Turn down the heat, get rid of colored paper, freeze this year's expenditures.
Notice of non-renewal of contract slips were to be issued from the school district to Fairbanks Education Association members tomorrow. However, the FEA board voted last night to extend that deadline to April 10th. Under terms of the district's current FEA contract, these notices, which are essentially pink slips, were due before March 16th. FEA President Tammy Smith says it's important to give teachers fair notice that their contract will not be renewed to allow them time to look elsewhere for work. She says all affected teachers will receive doubtful status notices from the district tomorrow to make sure no false hope is given as cuts are made to the district's budget.
Okay, when we come back, a Fairbanks man thinks he has come up with a way to make the air more healthy in the interior.
Also, it's a Thursday night, which means another edition of Fairbanks Flavor. Tonight, another great pasta with plenty of veggies. Those stories are next when we return. Welcome back. Alaska State troopers say a Fairbanks man has died of apparent carbon monoxide poisoning at a cabin at Summit Lake south of Delta Junction. 58-year-old Daniel Whitlow was found in a generator shed near the cabin. Troopers and medics responded and found Whitlow's wife and a friend performing CPR. Medics treated the 2 women for exposure to carbon monoxide fumes.
In December, we told you about a Fairbanks area man who believes he has come up with new cleaning methods to make the environment healthier. Monty Bowen has an update on that story.
This is basically a filter that collects all the particulate matter and base metals.
Kevin Bergman has been a miner for 30 years, and in his operation he has to follow state and federal laws to make sure his claim doesn't pollute the land or water. He says that while working on one particular project, he found a side effect that could prove very beneficial.
I first invented the water filter to try and collect precious metals from water. What I found out is not only could I take out the precious metals, I was able to catch things that my lab said were nasty. So we collected acids, chemicals, metals, pollutants, particulate matter.
Earlier this week, he made a presentation on his findings at a Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation task force on air quality.
This morning we have Mr. Kevin Bergman, minor and assayer, who has come up with a prototype system to remove metallics from effluent streams, air, smoke, water.
He said if his system is proven, it could be used on things like coal.
Coal has, well, it's an ancient carbon. It's,
I know.
yeah, it's full of minerals, and then the excessive mineralized coal, we don't even want to burn it. But with this technology, we'd prefer to burn it because it has higher values, and we can handle those toxins and smoke safely. So we'd actually bring more fuel to the table because we can mine dirtier fuel sources.
Bergman said a lab in Utah confirmed his findings on cleaning up the water, but tests on air have not been completed yet. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
For over 10 years, local firemen have been raising funds to help fight childhood cancer. St. Baldrick's is the annual event held to not only raise money, but also advocate for cancer research across the United States. Each year, residents gather to shave their heads for the funds. Interior firefighters are heavily involved in the event, with many of them giving up their own hair for the cause each year. Over the past years, they have raised over $300 locally. This year, their goal remains at $30,000, and they say if you don't want to shave your head, it's okay. There are other ways to participate and support the cause.
You do not want to shave your head totally off. Many females choose to opt to just cut off a certain amount, and you can donate that to different organizations like Locks of Love, or there's a new one called Pantene, the hair products company, that they have a program as well. That's one we're going to do this year, and a minimum of 8 inches, and we can send that off, and that'll be donated to that program that makes wigs for cancer patients.
The St. Baldrick's event will be held Saturday, March 21st at 6 p.m. at Pioneer Park.
Now it's time for this week's edition of Fairbanks Flavor with Lisa Gambardella. On the menu tonight, a gluten-free dish with plenty of greens.
Buonasera. Welcome to Gambardella's Pasta Bella. I'm Lisa, and this is my restaurant downtown in Fairbanks. We're going to start our pasta dish today. Well, actually, it's not a pasta dish. It could be, but today we're making it gluten-free. I've got some garlic. Make it sizzle. Before you add any wine or stock, make sure this is browned nicely. A lot of Italian dishes convert very well with risotto, because you can put anything on risotto and make it gluten-free. Add a little chicken stock in there. A couple of nice staples to keep in the kitchen are some caramelized onions. I'm going to put some broccoli in there and some zucchini, nice and healthy. I'm only going to cook it for a little bit to keep those veggies nice and bright. Very nice. A little more oil. Extra virgin olive oil, of course, fantastic. And some peas. Wow. Now we have a delicious dish. You can pretty much put anything on risotto that you would. Put a splash of cream. Make it like an Alfredo Primavera, but on rice. Here's my risotto. And beautiful veggies. Wow, that's fantastic. See our recipes at webcenter11.com. I'm going to put some Asiago on there, grated pepper. Buonasera.
Brought to you by Gambardella's Pasta Bella.
All right, news from the WCHA as the all-conference teams were announced today with Joe.
Also, the limited North American sled dog race begins tomorrow. More after the break with Mr. Joe Cook.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your Thursday Sportscast. This weekend, the Patty Center will be the site of the 2015 NCAA Rifle Championships. It'll be a sight to see. The Patty definitely has a national championship feel. There will be a fan fest from noon to 8 on Friday while the teams shoot in the E.F. Horton Rifle Range downstairs. Fans and supporters can come out to shoot one of the rifles and try on some gear as well as other activities. It's included with a purchase ticket to the championships. Number 2 Alaska aims for its 11th national title, and they hope to end number 1 West Virginia's 2-year national reign. Alaska's Ryan Anderson, Tim Cherry, Mats Eriksson, Lordley Stanfield, and Sagan Madalena will be the shooters this year. Competition starts at 8 a.m. in the rifle range on Friday and at 8 a.m. in the Patty Center on Saturday. UAF is hosting nationals for the second time in program history. They hosted back in 2007. The Nooks won it all that year and set an attendance record as well. They want to repeat that feat this weekend.
We've been talking a lot about it to get them comfortable with things, and they're really excited to see the town come out and support them and put on a good show, so they're ready. Saturday, that's when we'll be here in the gym shooting all of the air rifle, and we'd love to get people out and supporting the team and come in for the finals, which are going to be a little bit after 2 o'clock. So if we can get people here around then to pile in, we'd love to break the record last time, get out 1,000+ people in here to watch those and really support the team and hopefully win another national championship.
And today, the all-conference teams for the WCHA were announced, and 3 Nanoks received all WCHA honors. Colton Parayko, the recent St. Louis Blues acquisition, was named WCHA Defensive Player of the Year for the 2nd year in a row. The junior defenseman was 2nd in assists for Conference Blue Liners with 16. He was 4th overall in points for defensemen with 23. He had 5 power play goals to lead Alaska. Junior and assistant captain Tyler Morley joins Parayko on the WCHA first team. Morley was a point away from the conference lead in points with 33. He scored 37 total points and was 3rd overall in scoring. He also had 5 power play tallies for Alaska. Marcus Bassara, the sophomore, didn't have a slump this season, finishing 8th in points with 22 in the WCHA. He was all-conference 3rd team pick. Also, the Nanoks had 19 players make the all-WCHA academic team for having at least a 3.0 GPA. And there are 6 games left in the regular season for the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. They want to get on a roll heading into playoffs. The Dogs will visit the Bismarck Bobcats this weekend for a non-divisional series. It's an important weekend for Fairbanks, who has a chance to break their Midwest Division lead with the Minnesota Wilderness. The 2 playoff-bound teams both have 74 points in the standings. Bismarck is 3rd in the Central Division. They will have something to play for as they try to clinch a playoff spot. Fairbanks will come back to Alaska to play Kenai River next weekend, and then they close out their regular season at the Big Dipper against those Brown Bears. The dog mushing season continues this week for the interior. This weekend is the start of the Animated Limited North American Championships. Last night, the draw for the LNAC was at the Mushers Hall. There will be 1 to 2 dog ski juring, 4, 6, and 8 dog mushing classes. Among your notables, defending 4 and 8 dog champion Don Brown drew 3rd in the 6 dog class and 4th in the 4 dog class. Becky Voris will be 1st in the 2 dog ski jour. Jennifer Earhart drew the 1st bib in the 6 dog race, and Mary Ho Rato will lead the 8 dog class. The total purse is $12,500. First place in that 4 dog race gets $625, $937 to the 6 dog class winner, and there will be $1,281 on the line in the 8 dog class. 3 days of sled dog racing begins tomorrow at 11 a.m. on the Jim Studdard Race Grounds. And we close out tonight with our Iditarod leaderboard. There's been a lot of change at the top. As of airtime today, Aaron Burmeister is the leader. Dallas Seavey is 2nd. Martin Boozer 3rd, and rookie Thomas Warner is 4th, and Hugh Neff, he is 5th overall. Now, early this morning at 4:37 a.m., former champion Jeff King was 1st into Galena. He's currently in 7th place. King received the Millennium Alaskan Hotel First Musher to Yukon Award. The award is a full 5-course meal, which features Alaskan delicacies and more. He also received $3,500 in ones on a gold plate after that meal. And she was the last to leave Fairbanks, but she was the first to scratch. Delta Junction, Zoya Denura scratched Thursday and 10-0 with 14 dogs. Seen here, she takes off from Fairbanks. Rookie Gwen Bogart also scratching 10-0 today with 14 dogs due to personal reasons. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello everyone, welcome back into the Fbx Evening News for a Thursday night. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about the weather. It's been kind of a cloudy, gray, flurry day all day long. We're looking at those snow flurries to continue throughout the night. And even a better chance of maybe you see a little light snow by tomorrow night, but no real accumulation, but at least it's changed the weather pattern. So the cold temperatures are showing signs of slowly warming back up again. More on that later. Our photograph tonight, this is a very nice one, sent in by Bliss Veer. Ice sculpture and sunset, the ice sculpture of a bear there in the background, the beautiful sunset. And as always, if you have a photograph to share, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Here's your almanac. Right now, our temperature 8 degrees below zero. That is the high for the day. The low last night, 22 below. Record high, 1926, got up to 45 that day. Down to 56 below in 1911, and your sunrise and sunset works out to not quite 11 and a half hours of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Now the satellite picture is showing a little bit of a change. You can see the clouds and moisture slowly working their way back to the west, and some of that might work its way into the Fairbanks area by tomorrow night. That's all in association with a change in the weather pattern. Lots of rain falling across southeast Alaska, just the opposite across the rest of the western half of the state and on over the southwest. Clear to partly cloudy skies there. And you can see that on our map here. As you can see, temperatures are once again very chilly, although it is very nice across southeast Alaska, although heavy rain. 49 degrees at Ketchikan. Anchorage only 14 degrees for the high there, 18 at Kodiak. That doesn't happen very often too. And 19 degrees at Cold Bay with single digits below zero on the west coast and very chilly in Barrow, 27 below, while it's 0 for the high in Fort Yukon. Lower 48 weather looks like this, and again we're talking about very quiet weather pattern for the most part. At least out to the west, things are looking pretty good there. Nice warm temperatures, 86 at Phoenix, Denver 64 degrees. Rain falling across parts of Texas and over the southeastern sections, all the way up to the eastern half of the country, then sunshine back out around the New York area. On the satellite radar, you can see why the rain is falling. Look at that, just straight shot right off in the Gulf of Mexico. So you know it's warm and humid down there. And that's a system that moved across the west coast earlier this week is continuing to move across the central plains, but not expected to really bring a whole lot of weather with it. Now, as far as the overall outlook for this weekend, the jet stream way up to the north, that allows all that warm air to return. A little rain possible over the northwest, and still some rain possible up and down the eastern seaboard. Okay, back to Alaska for tomorrow's forecast. Looking at mostly sunny skies in Nome, clouds and cold for Barrow, and cloudy skies at Fort Yukon, 21 below at Barrow for the high. The interior will be looking at morning fog, then clouds and scattered areas of snow at Healy, Delta Junction, and Fairbanks, while over southeast Alaska, pretty nasty there. Rain and snow in Juneau and heavy rain continuing for the Ketchikan area, 50 degrees for the high there tomorrow. Over southwest part of the state, partly cloudy skies for Cold Bay, sunny skies the rule in Bethel and also at Kodiak. And over the south central regions, looking at partly cloudy skies at Anchorage, mostly sunny skies in Homer, 1 to 3 inches of snow expected for the Valdez region. All right, time once again for our kids' weather. All this week, we've been talking with the third grade class at ICS, Immaculate Conception School. Tonight, let's hear it from the teacher.
Hello, I'm Miss Ward, and this is my third grade class here at Immaculate Conception Grade School. And we have a weather fact to share with you. Class, did you know that the largest snowflakes ever measured were in Montana in 1887? They were the size of small pizzas.
Those are big snowflakes. Again, thanks as always to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And next week, we're going to visit with the kids from the Northern Lights Academy. All right, it is a Thursday night, which means it's time for our road conditions. You can see the Dalton and Elliott highways, drifting snow, icy patches, and black ice. And as far as the Steese and Richardson, there's snow on the roadway, and there's a little bit of snow now down near the Delta Junction area, with icy patches all the way up and down the road there. And the Parks Highway looking at icy patches also with rough ice on the road in sections and blowing snow. Okay, as always, thanks to Jose's Body and Paint, and also for the Department of Transportation for the state of Alaska for the road conditions. A weather statement to pass along. It is once again time for air quality problems. Fairbanks is moderate, North Pole unhealthy for sensitive groups. Keep your burning down to a minimum and don't burn green wood. Here's your forecast for tonight. Cold with some fog, otherwise partly cloudy. 28 below, still pretty chilly. Tomorrow's forecast, a little bit of a rally there. Morning fog, then a chance of some snow by evening. And the 5-day outlook, as you can see here, temperatures warming up very nicely, looking at 30 degrees by next Wednesday. Overnight lows will also be warming up to around 0 by actually over the weekend we're getting it down to 0 or up to 0. And then we're looking at cold temperatures getting out of the way for spring, which is next Friday. How about that?
Spring into spring.
Yeah.
That's right. Can't come soon enough. Thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Tonight on the NBC Nightly News, the city of Ferguson braces for another night after cops were shot during a protest. That's next with Lester Holt.
Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.